Hello and welcome to Weeds. Not Weedy-S, Weeds. I'm James.
And I'm Tom.
And whether you're at home, at school, at work, or prancing around your bedroom dressed as Eevee, this is the best Nintendo podcast for news, reviews and discussion delivered straight to your hard drive. You're listening to the Weeds Podcast, episode 26, recorded on Tuesday the 21st of August 2007. I am joined this week, finally, by Tom Rutland, our nicknameless host making his eagerly awaited return. How have you been?
I've been excellent. I haven't been on for so long. In fact, the last time I was on was before Harry Potter came out, and that's a month ago today, so
exactly.
It's been
now,
a long, long time.
Without revealing the ending for those that haven't read it...
Oh, the bit where Harry Potter's actually a Death Eater and Voldemort's son.
That too. Did you enjoy it? Is it what I mean? Given that you were obsessed with it for the best part of 10 years, was it worth the wait?
Definitely, it was absolutely fantastic. And if you haven't read it and you've read some other books, you just don't. If you don't want to read the others, just read this one because it is amazing and it's just so different and new. And if you are currently reading it, it's got a good ending.
I would disagree, but that's a subject for another podcast. Coming up, we have the hottest Nintendo news stories of the last week and our accompanying discussion, followed by what we've been playing. Our main discussion this week is casual versus hardcore. How has Nintendo's success with casual gamers affected their hardcore community? Finally, we'll be finishing off with our usual segments, including the online section and virtual console releases. All that and more to come, so don't you dare go away. You can email us at weedspodcast@gmail.com. And if you register that address in your Wii address book, we'll send a message to your Wii informing you when the next episode is out. I would like to thank Fatboy Wonder from our forums for helping me with my problem, and this may well help anyone else who is having a problem as well. If your Wii is not receiving our messages, try registering our full address, which is weedspodcast@googlemail.com instead, and that should work. That was the problem with mine, and I'm now receiving the same messages that you are. You can join the boards at www.weedsforum.com, where you can chat with fellow listeners, the hosts, leave us feedback on the show, make suggestions, and so forth. Also check out our MySpace page, because I completely forgot we had it, at www.myspace.com/theweedspodcast. Don't forget to check out our website, www.weedspodcast.com, where you will find the blogs of the host, any videos you've sent in, and more importantly, updates and previews of each episode. Now that we've got the website plugging out of the way, any announcements this week?
Well, actually, yeah, we've. As I got back from America, I had an issue of Onom, or Official Nintendo Magazine, waiting on my doorstep, and I opened it to find that their global game announcement, which is sort of like our news discussion, was entitled Peripheral Vision, with exactly the same topic as what we had several weeks ago, and with the Wii Balance Board and the Wii Zapper and the Wii Wheel, and I sat down and laughed for a couple of minutes because I thought we came out first.
Absolutely. You got to. I'm sure there's someone in the Onom office listening to us. I'd like to think that would be great.
That would be funny. If
they are listening, I'm looking for a job. Little bit of a plug there. The thing is, it's all well and good, but peripheral vision is like a fairly standard sort of headline that you get in stuff. I used it a good few years ago. I used to write a column for a website, and I used peripheral vision. But it's good to see that we get there first before everyone else.
Yep, definitely. And our second announcement today is a call for returning forum members. Ever since we switched forum, we have lost a couple of members, which we really loved having on the forums and who contributed greatly to the show and the forum itself, because we had Stephen Robinson, who made fantastic signatures and discussions and contributions. His girlfriend, Princess. She was excellent, but she joined just before, I think, we had the forum change. And there was also Wii, who made excellent signatures and was really interesting. And we'd really like them to come back to the new forum, because it's just really not the same without them. And also, anybody we've missed, or anybody who wants to join the forum, you can do that at weedsforum.com or weedsforum.com.
We'll say the boards is where it's at, but it's not as happening as it once was. So we want the life and the soul to come back, please. Okay, we're going to move straight into it with our first news story. Wii close to UK bestseller. According to official sales figures compiled by... Sorry, I'll start that all over again. According to official sales figures compiled by ChartTrack, the Nintendo Wii is set to top 1 million sales in the UK within the next 2 or 3 weeks. The figures also show that the Wii is outselling the Xbox 360 by over 4 to 1 and the PS3 by more than 6 to 1 every week. At this rate, the Wii is on track to surpass the GameCube's lifetime sales of just over 1 million by the end of September. My God, it's going to outsell the GameCube, which had 5 years on the shelves, with it less than a year, and it's almost like outsold the GameCube. Now, the GameCube, granted, wasn't Nintendo's best-selling console, but still, you would think, 5 years worth of sales is a little, takes a little longer to beat.
Well, it's crazy, isn't it? Because 10 million it's surpassed now in 8 months. It's more than 1 million every month. It's crazy. It's even sold. I think it's nearly sold 1 million in the UK.
That's what I've just said. That was the story.
Well, that is absolutely crazy, because the UK is not known for its Nintendo fans, is it? And I think this really is the casual market pulling it in, but we'll discuss that later in the show.
Definitely. I think what amazed me most about this story is that the GameCube only sold just over 1 million. I mean, obviously I knew it didn't sell that well, but I thought it sold a bit more than that.
Well, it's tough to say, because I know most people had a PS2, because I was a Nintendo fan, but then my dad got an offer on PS2s and bought one, so I had a PS2, and at the age I couldn't afford to go out and buy a GameCube and games and controllers, so I was stuck with that, but I did get one when I was older, a few years ago now, and I really love it, and it does surprise me, but then to be fair, I knew lots of people who didn't have GameCubes, and I think the PlayStation 2 just absolutely dominated the market.
Okay, next news story. Stormfront defends Wii. Speaking at the GCDC in Germany, Don Daglow from Stormfront Studios has defended the Wii's right to be called a next-generation console. Hold on. I'm sure somewhere in this little section of this room, there's someone who does not believe that the Wii is next-gen. It does not have the processing power the 360 or the PS3 does, and you can make the consistent argument that, without that processing power, it cannot revolutionise the entire experience. That's debatable, and we get to decide. Nobody is going to tell us what we think is next-gen. We get to decide for ourselves. I can help start arguing, but we get to decide for ourselves. Next-gen hardware is any platform that, upon its introduction, dramatically changes players' views of the potential for interactive entertainment, he said, before arguing that it's a definition that fits software as well. If it changes the player's view of what interactive entertainment is, if you think differently about it, if you have a new perspective after playing the game that you didn't have before, to me, that is next gen. I completely agree with him.
Me too. I think that next gen has always meant the next... It's never been taken literally. It means the next lot of consoles, the next 3 consoles now that it is. And to say it's not is ridiculous, because it's just going in a different direction, and it still has a Galaxy. If you've been looking at the videos and the screenshots, that looks amazing. And I would argue that it's perhaps more next-gen, if you might say, because it's so different to all the others. But as he said, everybody has a different opinion of what next-gen is, so it's very difficult to come to a firm conclusion on this.
Precisely. I do agree with him. I have to say, I really do agree with him. And yes, by those definitions, you can consider Wii more next gen than Xbox 360 and PS3. But I prefer Nintendo's definition of its new generation, because next generation just means a simple evolution of existing technology. The Xbox 360 is a souped-up Xbox, whereas Wii is a completely new concept. completely new concept. So it's new generation.
Yeah, I would say that they're just... You have to compare them differently, because an Xbox 360 has all... People say it has all the hardcore games, but it has all the fighting games, the gun games. So I'm in no way insulting it or anything like that. So anybody who likes it, do not complain, because I really would like one, but I just can't afford one right now. And so does the PS3, but the PS3 does it less well, in my opinion. It doesn't have Halo, it doesn't have Gears of War, unless it does, and I've probably just mucked up.
No,
there,
it doesn't.
But,
it doesn't. Those are
it doesn't.
Those are Microsoft exclusives. It's okay.
Microsoft exclusives. I didn't want to be speaking out of my arse, but no, I really think that you can't really compare them because they're so different. But there are all these rumours of Microsoft and Nintendo creating a console that can play Wii games and 360 games, but I'm afraid for now I don't think that's true.
No, that's rubbish. Moving on. Wii production stalled. According to a report on the website Digitimes, the expected increase in Wii production during June was delayed due to a shortage of internal components. This stalled Nintendo's plans to increase production of the best-selling console in order to meet demand. The report cites unnamed component makers, saying that there's unlikely to be any easing of console shortages in the near future. This is despite the fact that a report from tech.co.uk earlier this week revealed that the success of the Wii has caused non-gaming technology suppliers throughout the US and Europe to grow. I really do think they're in trouble supply-wise, but I don't see why it's taking so long to make a console. I mean, it's cheaper to produce, it's smaller. Granted, you've got different technology, you've got to get all the accelerometers and stuff, but they must be able to make enough to supply demand. I mean, this is something of a sore issue throughout the world, because you still have difficulty buying a Wii.
That's what I don't understand. How are they making so many sales when stores are lucky to get, we got 3 in stock once a week?
Yeah.
Unless it's better around the world, which I think it's a little bit better, but not much. In the UK, Wiis are scarce.
Yeah.
My friend randomly walked into a shop, and luckily they had some in, but that they'd just got them delivered an hour ago.
I wonder if pre-orders are counted as sales. If you've had to put down a deposit for it, you've put money on it, therefore they've sold that console on some level. I wonder if they're counting those.
I'd have to disagree there. I don't think they are, but I think you've got to look at the markets. They've sold loads in Japan and loads in America, and 1 million in the UK alone.
Yeah. Which,
if you think about it, is a lot, because we're quite small compared to the rest of Europe, and there's a lot of gamers in Europe.
Definitely.
So, for one small country with a population of 60 million people, 1 in 60 people own a Wii.
That is cool.
Which is quite good, actually.
That's cool. I'm going to test that out. I'm going to go onto a train with 60 people and ask how many people own a Wii.
Well, that would be pretty interesting.
That would. I mean, yeah, this sounds to me like... I would almost say this sounds to me like an excuse because Nintendo have got a lot of hassle facing them, what with Christmas coming up, and they've already said, they've already been criticised. People analysts have already said that Nintendo are going to struggle this Christmas if they can't meet demand. If I read this story anywhere else, I would say that this is an excuse, but it's not. It's not from Nintendo. So I wonder if there really is a problem.
They could have leaked the story, if you know what I mean. It could have been a bit, where they sort of say, oh, by the way, someone in the company leaks it out.
Yeah.
And so that they can stall and not have any for perhaps a couple of months, and then at Christmas they've got lots and lots and lots.
True, but if it was a leak, then it would say someone from Nintendo has leaked, because you would be proud of the fact that you've got that closer source.
Yes.
As a journalist, you'd be like, right, I'm going to say an unnamed Nintendo source, because I'm not naming them because they are my source, has said that Nintendo are screwed. But,
I don't believe everything you read, by the way.
Absolutely. I think. I mean, the trouble is, this is another online story, so you don't know for a fact that it's true. And this is one of those things where it's a report, and if you click the links and follow and trying to get to the original report, you never find it. But I think the important thing here is that Nintendo have got to up production before Christmas, otherwise they're not going to sell as well. So.
Well, I just think if they made more, they'd sell them.
Yeah.
Word is spreading like hotcakes. Everybody who's played one wants one. The ones I've let play on my console. So I don't see how it takes so long to make a Wii. And how they can be making so few.
It's certainly important now, during the early stages of Wii's life, while the momentum is still there, while people are still excited, because
Oh yeah.
2-3 years down the line, people aren't going to be interested anymore. And I think that's the danger that's facing Wii that isn't facing 360 and PS3.
But then they're selling faster, so more people who want them get them, if you know what I mean.
True.
Whereas, and they're cheaper, so it's easier to get it quick, if you know what I mean. That's why there are more sales now, and it's got like perhaps, if you like, more sales per day than an Xbox 360 and a PS3. But they're going on longer because it's easier to afford a Wii, as it's only £180, whereas a PS3 is £425. So it's very difficult to afford that.
Indeed. Final news story. First WiiWare details. A Japanese news service has reported that Nintendo will begin offering new original games for download at the beginning of 2008. The first wave of titles will focus on puzzle and edutainment games, with the eventual expansion into action games and larger productions. As well as in-house development, Nintendo will also act as a publisher for games from smaller developers, although it is not known how many third-party publishers are currently on board. The price for WiiWare is expected to be below 1,000 yen, which is translated roughly to about $8.
£4.
£4. There you go. So, I mean, I'm quite happy with that. Only a little
So
dribble.
by WiiWare, do you mean not? You don't mean the channel. You mean the the items, the games.
Yeah, I mean the actual WiiWare, like the software that you download from the Virtual Console shopping channel. That is like that is not classic games.
Yeah.
It's actual new original content downloaded from the Wii shopping channel. It's only a dribble of information, and it only really repeats what most of what we knew. But it's good to see that there's actually information coming out, because we were we know very little about these sort of things. I'm more than a little disappointed that the first wave of titles is going to be puzzle and edutainment games, educational entertainment games. And this is a worry that I've had about WiiWare since it was announced. I mean, I did a roundtable feature with the writing team at NintendoSpin.com, and we eventually concluded that it was going to be all puzzle games. I want to see bigger stuff. I want to see action games. Action games sounds to me like 2D shooters. Yeah, why not? I want to see
episodic content.
Episodic content, absolutely.
It's just edutainment. Puzzle and edutainment. It's just there are so many puzzle games and brain training rip-offs. We want something new. We don't want more puzzlers like 100 ways to play Tetris. We've already played them. They've been done to the moon and back. And why would we pay for puzzle games? Well, some people might, but I can't understand why they do all puzzle and edutainment games. Whereas you might think they would do some puzzle games, some edutainment games, some action, some thriller. It's rather confusing, really. I think the
WiiWare is going to end up something like the website. Is it WiiK.com? Where you've got all those flash games they're random flash games, and you've got silly little things like 2D shooters. You've got puzzles. I honestly think that is essentially what WiiWare is going to end up. It's going to be a load of little mini games that distract you for about 5-10 minutes before you get bored and download a different one. And the fact that they're going to be charging for this, so I'm not going to pay like £4 for a puzzle game unless it's incredibly addictive. I want to see something a lot more complicated. And this goes back to last week, Miyamoto going about less challenging, simpler games being the future. I don't agree. I want to see more complicated games, stuff that requires actually thinking about it.
It just seems to me like a waste of money. It's like, flash games on the internet.
Yeah.
That's what it seems to be to me, free flash games on the internet that everyone's playing at school that are, trying to see what sites aren't blocked at school. Zippy will like this. But it's just ridiculous. Why would we pay for them? I've got a feeling it's going to be rather underwhelming, to begin with at least.
I hope it's not. I mean, PlayStation Network and Xbox 360's marketplace, they've really got into it with the whole original content, downloadable games. I've heard, people raving, and I've heard other podcasts raving about, I think it's PlayStation Network title, Calling Our Cars. Apparently that's absolutely brilliant. Like, it's a cooperative game where you've got, it's cops and robbers, but it's cooperative, so you've got to play in teams. Something like that would go down well on the Wii. But I'm worried we're just going to get rehashed puzzles and, Breakout and Pong and Buster Move and stuff like that.
Yeah. I just honestly don't understand it, why they're doing it.
Having said that, it's a little too early to judge yet because we don't actually know a single title that is coming out on WiiWare. So,
yeah.
Okay. Any other news?
Well, actually, there is some more news. It's very breaking. It only broke today. In a breaking news flash, the Nintendo release schedule for the end of this year has been leaked, including Galaxy dated. There is a huge list at computerandvideogames.com of the Wii dates and DS dates that are coming out to the end of this year, including Euro pricing, so you can just convert to pounds. You'd expect a €50 game to go for £30, by the way. It lists Super Mario Galaxy as coming out on the 16th of November 2007. It also lists Metroid Prime 3 Corruption coming out as the 26th of October, which I think we may have already known. And Phantom Hourglass, for those who didn't know, is coming out on the 19th of October 2007, with Mario Party DS coming out on the 23rd. There are a lot more games on the list, which we will post in our forums.
We'll post it on the site. Okay. I've got one more thing I want to point out. It's not really a news story, but it's just an observation. Nintendo currently owns the top 10 all formats chart. And I had a look at this. It's on InStock Magazine's website. Every single entry in the top 10, with the exception of Transformers and Harry Potter, is a Nintendo title. You've got Wii Play still up there. You've got New Super Mario Brothers has come back. Of course, you've got Brain Training and all that. Cooking Mama's in there. Nintendo dominates the all formats chart. That's not happened in a very, very long time. Certainly not before the Wii.
Oh, definitely not. And
So.
it surprised me because Wii Play is such. I think it's really overrated, to be honest. It's perhaps worth the £5 extra for the remote, because it comes with a remote and you pay £5 extra. And that's what we bought.
But that's what you're spending. I think the idea of that is you're buying a remote and for £5 you get a game with it.
Yeah.
I choose to see it like that because then it's not a waste of money. Because Wii Play is nothing more than a tutorial on how to use the Wii remote. That's it. And I'm glad that they don't market it as a game.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't say that. As soon as you sign on to as soon as you slap in Wii Play for the first time, it says this will teach you how to use the Wii remote. It's like, thank Christ for that. You're not pretending this is a game. But having said that, it's only a matter of time before we get Wii Play 2. Okay, let's move on to what we've been playing. Tom, you haven't been here for a while, so what have you been playing in your absence?
Well, whilst I was on holiday, I played a lot of Pokemon, because obviously I didn't have my Wii or a computer, so I was playing on Pokemon DS, which I've had since April. But I really enjoyed that. I've been training them up. I can't beat the Elite Four, but that's because I've got about 3 good Pokemon, and the rest aren't so good like the other 3. So you've got the usual message where you haven't trained them all up enough. You've only got 3 good ones, but then you fail against the dark Pokemon with a Psychic or something. But it's very good, and it's a shame because I don't have much time at home for it, but I've got more time when I'm in the car or on my own with family and no friends to talk to. But it's just definitely good, and I've enjoyed it. But since I got back, I've been playing Jedi Knight Jedi Academy for computer multiplayer.
Oh, that is brilliant.
I think James needs to play it.
I do. I think I need to install it after this, and then I can take you on and lose. As for myself, I've been playing Pokemon quite a bit. I don't know why though. I've still been playing it, and I've been playing it every other day. And I haven't even got my second gym badge yet. I don't know why. I think it's because I spent my second gym badge. I've only got 1 gym badge. That's because I wander around each area just battling up, and I'm trying to raise my Pokemon, and then every time I get one to a decent level, I suddenly find a different one, so I have to go back and raise that one. So I've been trying to raise mine fairly evenly, just because I want a decent squad from the word go. And I've now got a grass, I've got a fire, I've got a water, I've got a psychic, got a rock, got a fighting. So I've got all the types I need. The trouble is the buggers won't learn any decent moves. I mean, I've got a Sheonks or whatever it is some electric cat,
Shinx.
a Shinx, and Shinx has got no electric moves. He's a level 15 and he hasn't got any electric moves. It's like, where the hell's Thunderbolt when you need
Oh
it?
no, but you don't get those at level 15. That's more of a level 30. You know, you still got. But I think that's a bit of a fundamental problem with everything. It's with Pokemon, because all the Pokemon at a low level have Tackle, Growl, Scratch, and there's no variation.
I mean, I can understand that for like the lower levels up to about 10, but at about 10 you want it to start learning more specific moves to its type, because what's the good in learning Thunderbolt at level 30? I need it back now when I'm fighting like water Pokemon and and stuff in the early levels. Like, what made me laugh
it's
was
just so repetitive.
Gold,
Tackle,
yeah,
Growl,
definitely
Tackle,
Growl, Leer, Scary Face. Other than that, I've been playing Mario Party 8. My cousin brought it over. That is still something of a roller coaster of emotions. Right, put it this way. Played Sunday. Simple 10-turn game on Tycoon Town. Every single minigame I lost, because I'm not convinced that the controls are sensitive enough for it to understand what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I'm shaking, I'm cranking up handles, and I'm losing by a lot, and I'm doing my best. Now, it might be because my batteries were running low. I would like to think that's an excuse, but I just don't think the technology's perfected yet. Having said that, I don't know. I mean, not for Mario Party, not for the games it's got. The technology is quite vague.
Yes.
But so I got really. I will admit, I got really depressed. I got really upset because I was losing every single game, and my cousin was taking the mick out of me. Really, I mean, really getting to you. Really like touching on nerves. And then the end of the match came, and it finished with I pulled it back like on the last turn. I had 6 stars. She had 7. Then the bonus stars came out, and we both ended up with 7 stars. And because I had one more coin than her, I won. So I'd spent this entire match feeling upset, and then I won, and it just makes you feel even better than it would have done if you'd been winning all the way through. So, yeah, Mario Party is something of an emotional experience. I've been playing Metroid. I downloaded it on the Virtual Console, simply after talking about our month of Metroid last week. I thought, I really do fancy the original Metroid. I've never played it. I'm going to download it and play it. My God, it's hard. I think Nintendo really mucked up the mathematics on there. You pick up an energy ball, that gives you extra 5 health. You hit one enemy, and this is back in the days of where collision detection was really bad. I mean, you don't actually touch them, but if you're too close to them, a couple of pixels too close, you receive damage, and you lose 10, 15 points of health. It's really tough. I've got the morph ball, obviously, because that's right next to you when you start. But other than that, I haven't got anywhere, so I'm going to have to sit down and knuckle through that. Finally, I've played a little Star Wars Galaxies, but anyone who reads my blog will know why I'm a bit upset about that. And I was trying to play my PSP the other day. I found a website on my PSP that I can download demos. Thought, brilliant, I downloaded the new Worms demo. I can't play it because I haven't got the right firmware. So I tried to update the firmware. It won't let me. It says, nope, sorry, you've got the latest version. Well, I haven't. I'm about 2 years out of date. So you have to go out and buy a new game to update the firmware. They're very clever. You just think, Anyway, we're now going to move on into our main discussion. It could easily be argued that Nintendo has the most loyal fan base of the 3 major consoles, with 4 generations of home console owners under its belt, but now that demographic is changing. Nintendo's venture into casual games has proven to be more than successful, and their presentation at E3 shows that it is far from a passing fancy. But how is this affecting their followers? Is the effort to draw casual gamers into the fray upsetting the balance, or do Nintendo's hardcore fan base welcome the newcomers? What do you think, Tom? Just a general summary.
A general summary. Well, I think this generation Nintendo is seeing a lot of support from casual gamers, but that's mainly because us hardcore Nintendo fans who would buy everything, even if it was exactly the same, just with a different colour, go out and buy these Wiis. We then say to our mates, oh, come and have a look at this, it's cool. They get one. then they show one of their mates and they get one, and eventually it starts getting more and more casual. And we are the beginning of the chain, if you like. So we have bought, say, the first million Wiis, the Nintendo fanboys and fangirls, and then the other 9 million have spurned from us and the advertising from Nintendo. So they really do rely on us, and I don't think we do welcome the casual gamers due to the shift in gaming and Nintendo's attitude towards it. What do you think?
I think the important thing to note there is that despite knowing how many you've sold, you cannot possibly know who is a casual and who is a hardcore gamer out in there. Nintendo cannot possibly know how many people, how many Wii owners are casual and how many Wii owners are hardcore. It's undeniable that there are a lot of casual gamers there, because the right games are selling. You've got Wii Sports, Wii Play, Brain Training, all of those are selling, and those are selling brilliantly, but you don't know that those aren't just hardcore gamers looking for a rest. I mean, I personally welcome casual gamers because the games industry is becoming very, very narrow. It's become very hardcore, and it can be very intimidating for people to start off in. I mean, back in the days of like the NES and all that, all the games are pretty much the same. They're platformers or racers and all that, and it's okay because they're all the same sort of difficulty, i.e. back in those days, very hard. Nowadays, you've got a lot of movie tie-ins which are too easy, or shooters and fighters which are far too hard, and it can be quite intimidating for someone who's first bought their console. If they find like loads of games that they can't beat, it's quite intimidating. It's going to put them off buying more games. Having said that, I still think you need to cater for the people who want these difficult games. I don't know, it's a really difficult question, but we're going to have to crack into this today.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And by the way, we welcome your response, as we'll say at the end, because everybody has a viewpoint on this, don't
Definitely.
they, James?
I mean, that's quite important. This is a very hot topic at the moment, especially in Nintendo's fan base, Nintendo's following. After E3, we've been discussing this for weeks.
So should we start with our first point?
Yeah, go for it.
This year's E3, the main discussion, as it was Wii Fit and the new Me channel, which is very different from last year's E3, where we saw Excite Truck shown off, Zelda shown off. Did we see Brawl shown off? We did at the conference, we did at the event, not at the conference. But it's a very big shift, whereas it would appear Reggie was appealing to the media and the hardcore fan base last year, showing them all the titles they wanted to see. Complete blowout on absolutely everything. Iwata dropped the bomb, which was actually a speaker in the microphone. And everybody was really excited and had a really good feeling after E3. All the hardcore gamers were really interested. That's what sold the Wii to me. I wasn't too sure before, how's Zelda going to play like this? Had all these questions. And now, I was just, it was like, when can I pre-order one? When can I get one? Whereas this year's E3 was focusing the casual gamers who have bought the console. The parents who have bought it with their child and play Wii Sports with them, who play Brain Age. And it was talking about Wii Fit, which isn't as groundbreaking as, well, it's just not a hardcore game. It's an exercise game, really. And I don't understand why there was so much deal about it. And it really is appealing to the casual gamers rather than the hardcore fan base. And there was nothing to show to the hardcore fan base at E3, really. You saw Mario Kart Wii, but you saw less than a minute long clip of it. And a cheap plastic holder for the Wiimote. What do you think, James?
I mean, we've discussed this in great detail over the last few weeks, and we're aware that E3 was a good month ago, but it's still a very sore subject with gamers, because a lot of hardcore gamers came out feeling... They came out still wanting. It is exactly that. There was very little for us hardcore gamers to look at, but it was a worrying amount of casual games. Now, I'm all for casual games. I'm all for getting more people playing, and I'm all for catering for the people that have sold the Wii so well. It cannot be denied that there must be casual gamers out there buying these Wiis, and buying the DSs, and you're going to want to keep them for the whole generation rather than the people that just wanted sports for Christmas. They've spent £180 on their console. They want to know that there's more coming out. And that is what this year's E3 was set to do. The problem is, E3 isn't really a casual gaming outlet. it's only followed by the hardcore gamers. Few casual gamers will know what E3 is. So E3, they really needed to appeal to us, and they didn't. And we've said this several times, but it still remains. It almost goes back to like last week's speech from Miyamoto saying that, fun, less challenging games are the future. That sounds to me like making things more casual. I said this last week. I do not agree with what you said.
Well, I've got to say that I don't understand why I do this with E3, because casual gamers do not read gaming magazines, they do not read gaming blogs, they do not watch conferences live. It's the hardcore fans who do this, isn't it? You know, you don't have Mum sitting down with little Jimmy watching E3 and going gaga for Wii Fit. You know, it seems to me ridiculous. Casual gamers go into a shop with no knowledge of what they want to buy, and they see what they want to buy. They don't read gaming media, unless they become a hardcore gamer, which, you know, they get into games through casual gaming and then become more and more interested in it until they're a hardcore gaming fan. But they do not watch E3 live, so I don't understand why Wii Fit was the main discussion point, the turning point.
The thing is, I think Nintendo have been doing very badly over the last 2 generations. The N64 wasn't as big as it should have been. The GameCube apparently was really bad, given that it only sold 1 million over 5 years. They needed to rethink things, and they did. They thought up the Wii, and the Wii has proved, it's pulled it off for them. So they're almost like depending. They're trying to appeal to this new audience that they found, trying to keep them, because that's what's going to keep them in the game. But they've got to remember that it's us who put them there in the first place. It's us, who are loyal enough to stay with the N64, to buy the GameCube, to spend crap loads on Pokemon. Well, if we take a different tack, what would you define as a casual game? Because I think this is an important issue. Like, you can't have a go at casual gamers if you can't define what one is. What would you define as a casual game and as a hardcore game?
I'd say a casual game is a new one of Nintendo's new tack titles, where they've, like Wii Sports, Brain Training, ones that don't have much in the way of plot or traditional gaming types, or fantasy, action, shooting. They're more based at training specific parts of you, like your brain, your body, and I would define a hardcore game as something that is an action, a fantasy, part of a series like Zelda, and ones that have been around for quite some time, or styles that have been around for quite some time, and that appeal to traditional gaming markets.
Yeah, I mean, I would define casual games as a game that is pick up and play, that is overly simplistic and shamelessly cute in terms of Nintendo's new generation. Things like Wii Sports, Wii Play. The Miis are incredibly simple. They don't even have legs on the baseball game. Touch generations games like Brain Training, Nintendogs, yes, it has graphics, but there's not much to do. It's literally just a sandbox and a dog. Brain Training, Sudoku, these are all just quizzes. They don't even have graphics. They're just like numbers and letters. That is what I would describe as a casual game. Now, in small doses, yes, they're absolutely fine, because everyone, even hardcore gamers, want a break every now and then for the more active experiences. But I think we're getting too many nowadays. There's too many brain training games. There's too face training. They're bringing out face training, for Christ's sakes, where you train your face into like pulling different faces. What is all that about?
To making you look younger. As I said on a previous show, this is ridiculous because, if you squint, you get lines in your face. So by moving your face muscles, you actually age it quicker, obviously. It doesn't take much to tell that. So this game is completely pointless, in my opinion, unless they're trying to make you just pull stupid faces and upload the pictures secretly to their website. Why would you pay to make funny faces on your DS? And I don't understand how a DS is going to cope with graphics from the equivalent of a webcam in your DS. I can't understand how it's going to cope with realistic graphics like that.
Well, I mean, the DS is a powerful piece of hardware. Not as powerful as, say, the PSP, but it does have quite a few tricks up his sleeve. I think the point here is interesting, is Touch Generations. I was on the train to London yesterday, and there was posters for Touch Generations games on my train, and like every coach had one. and it'd be a different advertising, a different game. And I looked along, and you've got things like Brain Training, Sudoku, Nintendogs, Animal Crossing, Hotel Dusk. Hotel Dusk, I wouldn't normally class as a casual game because it's got a storyline. You've got to really think about it. It's artistically presented as it's very narrative driven, and it requires a lot more cognitive thought rather than just randomly tapping numbers or shouting out red, blue, yellow, black. But it's there as a Touch Generations title. It's there as one of Nintendo's casual titles. So if Nintendo can redefine what a casual game is, I think they'll win over the hardcore gamers.
I'm not sure, because I don't understand the whole Touch Generations series. Well, it's not a series, it's a group of games. I don't understand why they've named them Touch Generations. Why do they need a name? Why do they need grouping? Because casual gamers won't realise that.
I think it's a marketing ploy. It's a marketing ploy trying to emphasise that these games can be played by anyone of any generation. Right?
Yeah, generation.
I mean, if they brought out a shooter, like a shoot 'em up on the DS, you would automatically assume that is going to appeal to teenage boys. If you bring out a game like The Sims, that is going to appeal to teenage girls or young girls. Whereas Hotel Dusk, they're trying to say, right, anyone can play this. A young boy, an old person, a middle-aged adult, a boy, girl, it doesn't matter. You can play Hotel Dusk and get the exact same amount of enjoyment out of it.
But I would disagree there. Not with you, but with Nintendo's ploy. So I'd agree with you. It's not a game that's for anyone. It's a specialised game, and it received quite good reviews, didn't it? And casual games don't seem to attract such excellent reviews in magazines, do they? They seem to be, so and so. They're all the same. They're all boring. They've got no, games need plot. They need to be like a book or a film. They need essence. They need plot. They need graphics. They need something to keep them going. They need life, and these games just don't have them. They just pick up and play for 5 minutes, and that's not what video gaming is really about.
But then that begs the question of, are Nintendo trying to redefine what a video game is? I mean, we accept that a game has to have a plot, has to have a narrative, has to have a purpose, because that is how we have been grown. Even from simple days of Super Mario Brothers, the original, yes, you're just jumping over blocks, but you're doing it for a purpose. You're going to save the princess. And that's how we have been raised. We have been raised to accept that all games are meant to have a storyline. Perhaps casual games is the future. Perhaps that is is the way forward. Perhaps you don't need a storyline to enjoy a game. I personally do, because I have been raised this way. What I think we're seeing in casual gamers, and certainly in terms of younger casual gamers, we're seeing the start of a new generation of gamers. So 20 years down the line, when we're still doing this podcast, we'll be saying, oh yes, back in the old days of Brain Training and so forth, that set the stone, that laid the foundations for whatever the hell we're playing later on. And later on, we could later on be, all excited about the hardcore gamers, or the gaming community as a whole could be excited about the latest plotless, shamelessly cute, simplistic thing that will be coming out.
It's difficult to discuss because it's a bit of an unsure market at the moment, because Nintendo aren't really giving much out either way. They keep saying some stuff on some sides and others on other sides, and it's just that they're sort of being quite wish-washy. They don't. I get the feeling that the hardcore gamers have carried them through to Wii. Made it the success that it is by introducing casual gamers to it, and now Nintendo seem to be saying, goodbye, hardcore gamers. Thanks for carrying us through. You can have a Galaxy. Just make it a bit more casual, though, and Brawl, just a bit more casual, though, of course. And then we're just going to sort of start focusing on Brain Training. I think Zelda's going to stop now. It's just, they seem to be sort of stabbing us in the back and chucking us out.
I think it's a lot of miscommunication, a lot of mixed messages. What with, Mario Kart, Mario Galaxy, the rumours are that they're going to be a much more casual affair. Now, Nintendo have probably done that to try and get the casual gamers to buy them, so that when the casual gamers buy Mario Galaxy, they will keep their eye out for the next Mario game, thus making them a hardcore gamer. They're perhaps trying to transform casual gamers into hardcore gamers. However, the way we see it is, oh, fine, you're getting lots of help from casual gamers. So you're going to change our franchises, our games that we have played since we were tiny, into their games. And I honestly don't think that's Nintendo's intention. It's what's coming across, but that is not Nintendo's intention.
It definitely does seem that way, because we keep hearing about how these games are, these games look they begin to look more and more different from what we've seen before. And do you think it's just that, humans don't like change? They do not like change. And do we just need to start adapting?
Humans do not like change, and gamers in particular. Gamers like ultra-human in that term.
Gamers like a good moan.
Exactly. I mean, gamers will moan about anything. Zelda is the prime example. Wind Waker came out, cel-shaded. Oh no, it's completely changed. We don't like it. They played it. They liked it. Twilight Princess comes out, back to the original style, thinking, right, they didn't like Wind Waker, so we'll give them the original. Oh no, they've got rid of the cel-shading. They've changed it back. We don't like it.
Oh, it's not. It's too easy. It's not good.
It's not too easy. Sorry.
It is. It's too easy.
But therein lies an interesting point. Nintendo's games are much easier, and therefore I would define more casual, than other games on other platforms. Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, that is a lot easier than Jak 2 on the PS2, because you were saying saying the other day that you found that impossible.
Well, I got stuck on this bit and I could never do it, so I could just never get past it.
And that probably put you off the game, didn't it?
It did, because I was really enjoying the game, but I just hated it from then on.
I borrowed Jak and Daxter 1 and 2 from my cousin. I got to stages where it was really hard, but I thought, I am not going to give in to this, and I would try and finish it, not because I was enjoying it, but because I refused to let this game beat me. I wasn't enjoying it, I was just trying to finish it. Whereas Mario Sunshine, Mario 64, and hopefully Mario Galaxy, I love every minute of it. Even the later levels, when you're still playing the same sort of game, I'm still having good fun.
Oh, yeah.
So they're a lot more, and they are much more pick up and play than other games. Certainly things like Mario Kart. There's rumours going around the internet that Mario Kart is going to be a much more casual affair this time round. It's not exactly ever been a hardcore franchise. Not when you look at things like Burnout, Need for Speed. Need for Speed, you've got manual gear shifting, and you've got to drift around corners, and you had all this stuff. Mario Kart, any person, casual gamer, hardcore gamer, or vegetable, can pick it up and play it and win it, potentially win the game.
Well, I think it became more casual from the move from Mario Kart 64 to Double Dash, because Double Dash 64 was like a proper kart racer. It was difficult to control. It wasn't smooth control, whereas Double Dash just feels like you're gliding around on ice, or as if you're sort of flying on the kart. It's too smooth. It's not like a kart racer, and that's where it's removed its hardcore potential and made it easier, I think. What would you say to that if you've played 64?
I mean, I had 64, and I used to hate that you couldn't control it very well, but I always just assumed that was because my controllers were knackered by the original Mario Party. Double Dash, though, I really did enjoy. Yes, the karts felt lighter, but that only meant that the racing was faster, smoother, and more enjoyable. You can whip round corners without a worry. The DS version is considerably more hardcore. Like, it's harder, it's more difficult to control, if that's how you defined hardcore, than Double Dash. I was playing it the other night. I still keep slamming into walls, despite the fact that I've been using the same kart ever since I bought the game. And that did quite put me off when I can't get round a corner. I'm a hardcore gamer. I'm all for, improving my skills and everything, but if I can't get round a simple bend without slamming into a brick wall, I'm going to get a little upset. I'm going to get a little frustrated with the game. Double Dash, not a problem.
As I said earlier, last year at E3 there were loads of hardcore offerings that we saw: Zelda, Mario, Brawl, Excite Truck, although that's not so hardcore. It still looked excellent, and there was Metroid as well. And this year there was nothing. It was just the hardcore. The closest to hardcore it got was Mario Kart, which, as we've said, isn't a hardcore title. So it just felt that it was a complete U-turn and different conference. Although it would be impossible to top E3 2006, which was definitely the best conference I've ever seen. And I really do think it was a bit of a letdown, and especially to the hardcore market, and everybody came away feeling disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, I think the important thing is like that a lot has changed in the last year. Last year's E3, Nintendo weren't that confident about the Nintendo Wii. They weren't guaranteed to have the casual gaming market as such didn't exist as strongly as it does today, because last year the only people interested in Wii were Nintendo's followers and a few people who were interested in playing sports. So at last year's E3 you had a lot of hardcore games. This year, because the demographic has completely changed, because there's been so much interest from casual gamers, we've lost, I mean, regardless of what they did and didn't show, we've lost a number of hardcore games. Project Hammer was scrapped. Disaster Day of Crisis is on the shelf. I don't know what's happened to it. Battalion Wars, we haven't heard anything about. You know, all these games I was really looking forward to that weren't even traditional Nintendo games. Disaster Day of Crisis, Project Hammer weren't traditional Nintendo games by any means. But they have been shelved in favour of more casual, more light, and thinner affairs. I would define casual games like as a thinner game because there's less to it. I mean, things like Wii Fit. It's gonna, Wii Fit. Yes, it's great that you can map your weight around this board, but it's still going to be used for mini games. And I hate minigames. I hate minigames because they're pointless.
They're an excuse to put out a crap game and add in, we've got 20 minigames, hooray, it's excellent. It's not.
Minigames are literally what they say. They are miniature games, so they are not games in themselves. I am a games player. I do not want a miniature games. I would not buy a miniature console, would I? I wouldn't buy a mini console for playing mini games. If I buy a games console, I want games on it.
Yeah, you don't want mini games, you want big games, proper games, not mini games. It's a game that's just mini games, for example Mario Party, but that's been going downhill. WarioWare is great, but that doesn't set out to be anything more than mini games. A lot of mini games put together to create one game, right? Whereas lots of games these days have a pretty crappy game, and then, oh look, we've got the extra feature with 30 minutes for you to unlock and play, which are all similar and rubbish.
For me, a game should last more than a week or or so and still show you new stuff, new content, new levels, new concepts, rather than a day. Wii Sports, you can play it for an hour and you've seen everything. The Godfather, you've still not seen everything, even by the time you finish the game. So that, I think, and that's the problem. That's the problem that I don't like with casual games, is the fact that as soon as you've played it, you've seen everything there is to see. I like that's what, for me, games are. There's a good level of discovery. That's why games like Metroid Prime are so good, like why Zelda is so good, because it's all about discovery. Whereas Wii Sports, Wii Play, you've exactly discovered everything.
That's why a plot is necessary to a game.
Well, no. Not necessarily. If you had something like Wii Play unlock. You couldn't play all the games at the start. You had to unlock them. If they came up with something along those lines where you unlock more mini games or more concepts, more forms of playing, that would be considerably less casual than something that automatically gives you everything at the start. When you open the packet.
Yeah, I really think that there needs to be some sort of continuation. Like, you don't want everything when you get there. Life is boring if it's handed on a plate to you. There's got to be some hard bits and some easy bits. And discovery, you've got to have plot that keeps you going, and you've got to have, like, for example, in Zelda, you can't go into the Shadow Temple until you've done the Fire Temple and all the other temples. That would be completely pointless. There's got to be a set line to follow of discovery, rather than, what do you want to do now? It's okay in some games, but it doesn't work when it's used over and over again, because it's boring for a hardcore gamer who just wants a storyline, really.
I think the bottom line is, with gaming, you get out what you put in. Hardcore gamers put a lot more into games than casual gamers do, and they get a lot more back. Casual games, there's not a lot of opportunity to put something into it. Wii Sports, for example, all you can put into it is your swing technique. And that's all you get back. All you get back is the fact that your ball moves. With Zelda, you can put your heart and soul into finding every single nook and cranny, and as a result, you get reward. I think that is why hardcore gamers are alienated from casual games, because they don't get a chance to put anything in. Like, they don't get a chance to put anything into it, and they're not getting anything back out of it, and that's leaving them feeling slightly empty. And that's why hardcore gamers don't like casual games. And I think that should wrap up our main discussion. Now it's your turn. We want to know what you think about the issue of casual and hardcore gamers and how it affects Nintendo. Either email into the usual address, weedspodcast@gmail.com, post on our boards, weedsforum.com, or even better, record a 2-minute MP3 with your views and send it in, and we'll read and play the best ones out in a couple of weeks. If you want information on how to record for us, go to the forums, www.weedsforum.com. At the top, Tom has put in the announcement section a thread on how you can get involved.
And I'll be happy to help you with that. If you have any problems, just private message me on the forum or email me, and I'll sort it out for you, because I've set up people up countless times.
Absolutely.
On Audacity.
We don't bite, we promise. Okay, it's time for this week's edition of Our Man in Japan. Alex, what have you got for us this week?
This week we'll take a look at one of the most popular Nintendo-specific magazines on sale here in Japan. It's Famitsu DS Plus Wii. Games mags in Japan are quite different from those in the UK. If you have a look through a magazine like Famitsu, you'll see that the pages are very, very busy. There are colours everywhere, and the pages are full of decorative type. It's a stark contrast to the more uniform, structured, and some might say grown-up style of magazines like Edge, O&M, or Endgamer. It's hard for me to know where to look at first, with all the text jumping out at you and assaulting your eyeballs. Maybe you have to be Japanese to appreciate the aesthetics. Another thing which a lot of magazines do is give away a lot of free stuff. There's sheet upon sheet of stickers, game guides, comics, plastic desk pads, notebooks, book stands, inflatable balls, calendars, pens, and other junk crammed between the covers. It seems to me that even though Nintendo is trying to attract older gamers to the Wii and DS, all of the magazines still cater to the 8 to 13-year-old Kidtendo crowd. There isn't much in-depth analysis of gaming issues, reviews are 10 sentences long, and the pages are crammed with drawings sent in by 10-year-old kids. Anyway, Famitsu DS Plus Wii is a spin-off of the multi-format Famitsu, which you might have heard of. The big games in this issue are Dairanto Smash Bros. X, which of course is Super Smash Bros. Brawl. There's 16 pages of screenshots and info on that game. Still no release date for us in Japan though. There's also 6 pages devoted to Pokemon Fushigi no Dungeon. That's Pokemon Mysterious Dungeon. Now, I'm as wary of Pokemon spin-offs as the next man, but I must admit I'm interested in this. Super Mario Galaxy only warrants 2 pages this issue, but there are some screenshots I don't think I've seen before, including a rather hot-looking young lady. Rankings and surveys are really popular in Japan, and most magazines, TV shows, and websites are full of them. It's probably one of the reasons Nintendo came up with their voting channel. The magazine this time asked people to say which game they wanted a new version of. Number 5 was Mario Golf. Number 4 was Nintendogs. Number 3 was New Super Mario Bros. Number 2 was Wii Sports. And at number 1 was Pikmin. Here are the top 5 best-selling games on DS and Wii from July 9th to August 5th. Number 5, Subarashiki Konosekai. That's a new action RPG from Square Enix. I don't know much about that one, but it looks pretty good. Number 4 is Wii Sports. Yes, it's still there. It sold 130,000 copies this past month alone. It's pretty amazing when you remember it was a launch title back in December. Number 3 is Zelda for the DS, the new one there. That's really good. Number 2, Dragon Quest Sword. And number 1, Mario Party 8. You might be surprised to see those last 2 up so high, but they sure are selling, close to about 430,000 each.
What about reviews? They're a fairly important part of magazines.
As for reviews, there are 20 in the magazine this issue, but as I said earlier, they're all very short. What they do is they have 4 people write about 3 sentences and then give a score out of 10. So I'll just run through the notable scores. Harry Potter to Fushcho no Kishidan, that of course is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, got 7676. Forever Blue, that's a diving simulator with some pretty good graphics. That actually got 9, 10, 8, 9. Some good scores for that one. For the DS, Mag Kid, which I mentioned a few weeks back, got 7, 8, 7, 7. Donkey Kong Jungle Climber got 7, 8, 8, 9. And Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Ring of Fate got 8, 9, 9, 9. Alright, the magazine is packed with loads more stuff which I just don't have time to mention here, but I'll mix in anything of note in future episodes. Before I go, I think you might have been wondering what the phrase I say at the end of my little slot means. Well, it just means see you next week. So, mata raishu!
Thanks, Alex. Same time next week. Okay, listeners, at some point over the weekend I will endeavour to put up the scans that he emailed me so that you can see the magazine for yourselves. In the meantime, let's move on to this week's Virtual Console releases. Bit of a blast from the past, going back to the days of the NES and the TurboGrafx 16. We've got 2 NES titles, which are Wrecking Crew and Lunar Pool, both for 500 points, with Newtopia appearing on the TurboGrafx 16 for 600 points. Okay, Tom, would you like to lead us into the online section?
Well, we've had quite a lot, and not a lot, this week online. We've had variation in the levels of activity on each front. We have a new forum member, Pi, who joined today, and we hope he enjoys his time here. Moving on to our website updates, Smash Weekly, a weekly smashing update from our very own James, who collects and reads the daily Smash Brothers news, so you don't have to. Simply check www.weedspodcast.com every Sunday for the latest Smash Brothers roundup. And also, you can check out the Wacky World of Pokemon Summer Day Camp at the website too, with a video taken by Pokemaniac Marty.
I can't
What's been
believe
hot
she
on the
actually
forums
did
is-
that. So I've got to stop you there. I
Wait.
can't believe she went to... I won't spoil it, but she went to the camp dressed as a Pokemon. We were hoping to have her on the show today so that she could explain herself, but... Oh, dear God.
Her computer has been masterballed and taken away.
Absolutely.
But let's have a short discussion about this, because we were expecting, James and I were talking, we're thinking of it being outside with games, perhaps water fight, something summery. And James, explain what we saw when we watched the video.
Well, as Tom says, summer camp implies that outdoors, a lot of green, possibly some tents, marquees, that sort of thing. If you watch the video, all of the photos are taken in a Toys R Us store. The Pokemon Summer Camp was held in a store. That is not a camp. That is a Pokemon Summer Day, or a Pokemon Summer event. It's not a camp. I was just like, I don't know if that's really cheap, or that they just didn't think that people would want to go outside.
When I watched it, I was thinking, oh, Marty's on the way there. She's stopped on the way there and gone to Toys R Us for some irregular reason. And then I realised, wait a second, this is in Toys R Us. And I was thinking, why on earth would you have a summer day camp in a shop?
Oh God!
It's not summer at all. Although to be fair, the weather's not really summer.
I'm gonna say we've not had a very good summer in Britain, but never mind.
It's still cheap.
It's still.
Anyway, moving on. What's been hot in the forums this week? Our hottest thread has been, what's your poke philosophy? Starting by James. How do you play Pokemon? Check out this thread in our DS forum to give and receive Pokemon information and tips and read others' stories. And finally, the latest from our postbox. Hi, I just got a Wii 2 days ago thanks to you guys. You got me really interested, and then I got a Wii eventually after listening to lots of your podcasts. Since it's only new, I only have WarioWare, Smooth Moods, Wii Play, Sims 2 Pets, and Wii Sports. I think that Sims 2 Pets is quite bad because it's not that fun, but it's my sister's, so I can't help it. Did you guys get a little cardboard case for your copy of Wii Sports, or did you get the regular plastic case? And I've already completed Wii Play. It's so simple. All you do is win or lose, and you complete it. So there's not much point in playing it, but because it's easy. I haven't had much time to listen to your podcast lately, but when I get the chance, I will. See you later, Callum, aka CGK190. I'm still on your forums. Well, this email was quite interesting because I find it interesting we got someone to buy a Wii.
Yes.
Perhaps it was Ben's song that did
I'm
it.
pretty damn
But,
chuffed with that. I'm rather damn proud that we actually managed to get someone to buy a Wii. I mean, obviously everyone wants them anyway, but the fact that he's blaming us for it, I think, is quite good.
I get the... Oh, wait, let's answer his question first about the cardboard case or the regular plastic case.
I got the plastic
It
case.
sounds like he might have got a cardboard case.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he did. I emailed him back, but he didn't email back whether or not he got a cardboard one.
No.
I don't know. I mean, I think it depends what batch you get. I mean, I remember when the first shots of the Wii and the Wii packaging came out, originally it was all going to be cardboard slips for the disc. But
it was cardboard in America.
Yeah, it was cardboard in America. I think it was cardboard. I know it wasn't cardboard over in Japan because they didn't get it packaged with the game. But I was glad that we got a plastic case because it's easier to store, harder
definitely.
to lose. But I don't know if they've run out of plastic cases.
Perhaps having production problems with plastic cases too. But I thought this guy's email was interesting. I think he's I think all his games seem to be quite, as we've said, casual. Apart from WarioWare, which is semi.
No, WarioWare is casual. WarioWare is definitely casual.
Well, he's just got lots of casual games. I think he wants something. It sounds like he wants something that's going to be a bit difficult or has plot. And I'd suggest to him, I don't know how old he is, Red Steel or Zelda.
Definitely.
To get. Would you agree with
I
that?
would definitely agree with both of those.
If you want a game, I'd get Red Steel or Zelda. They're excellent. And
if he's old enough,
come to the forums.
If he's
for
old
more
enough, I would
recommendations.
certainly recommend The Godfather Black Hand, because that game is absolutely incredible. It takes so long to do absolutely everything. It's so much fun. It's the best example of how a next generation game can be ported over to the Wii and made better, because the control scheme just really lends itself to Wii. The fact that you can actually beat people up and strangle them and so forth. I love it. I love it.
Excellent. Well, if you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at weedspodcast@gmail.com. That's WIIDspodcast@gmail.com. You can check out our blog at www.weedspodcast.com, and you can join the forums at www.weedsforum.com. Please come and join the forums. They're really interesting, and we've got lots of people posting. And it's quite a good community, isn't it, James? And there's new people joining every week, so
Definitely.
it's pretty good.
It is good. And the more you discuss on the forums, the more we can read out here, the more we can discuss here. Because we want to share your views with, we want to see what your views on stuff are. If obviously we want you to reply to the main discussion, and we want to know what you think about our main discussion each week. But if there's an issue that you want to talk about that we haven't covered, let us know. We can either make it the main discussion, or we can discuss it in the online section, or we can even have you on, and you can voice your opinion
for a whole show.
This is your outlet. This is your outlet, and this is essentially what this podcast is. This podcast is an outlet for Nintendo fans.
Definitely.
Indeed.
Well, that wraps up the online section this week, so we're going offline now.
Okay, and that about wraps it up for another week. If you would like to get involved with the show, email the team at weedspodcast@gmail.com, or come and make your suggestions at www.weedsforum.com. We want to have some Wii Virtual Console or DS reviews, so write them down or record them and send them in. If you've been lucky enough to playtest a game before us, let us know. We will have you on the show, and you will tell us how it goes. We need to, warn people, or perhaps, promote it to people. If you've got a question for us, or you want to ask our opinion on something, write it down or record it, send it in to us. Or if you want to voice your own opinion on a Nintendo issue, you can do so. We would love to hear from all of you. All 250-ish of you.
also, before the end of the show, we'd like to point out that there is a topic in the announcement section of the forum where you can choose the main topic for a future show. You know, if you've got a good thing that we can talk about on the show that's going to have enough points for discussion, we will do it as a main discussion. So that's the only way to voice your opinion on what the main topic should be on the show. So get to the forum
Indeed,
now.
this is your show. You know, let us know what you want discussed, and we shall discuss it. We are at your mercy.
Unless we turn into a casual gamers podcast where we're just casual and we just talk about mice.
Absolutely, casual weeds. God, no. Oh, God, that would be horrible. We sit there, oh yes, my brain age is 37. I managed to knock it down to 38. But I'm still working on that.
No, we will never become a casual podcast, I don't think.
Hell no.
But next week we've got a great show lined up, haven't we? We've got Leipzig.
Absolutely. Yes, Leipzig is coming up, so we will be giving you all the latest gossip from that.
And last year we had Battalion Wars Wii, or Bwee,
Bwee
revealed, and Mario Strikers Charged, which turned out to be the first online game, which is very good. So, you never know what's coming this year.
Leipzig is becoming a
So
much more important event nowadays. So we shall see what...
Yes, seeing as E3 got turned into a special press-only event.
Media Summit. I mean, essentially now, with the exception of the Tokyo Game Show, it is the most important event in the gaming calendar. So we'll see what happens.
Oh,
I'm just gutted I'm not going. I'll try. I'm honestly going to try and go next year. Next year I'm going to Leipzig. That would be good fun.
He's our man in Europe.
Indeed. You guys should see if you get the time off as well. We'll all go and we'll do a live Weeds from Leipzig.
That would be very interesting.
Brilliant. Okay. Don't forget to send in your views. Editing permitting, this should be available Sunday, and we will see you next week.
Goodbye.
Scary face.
Scary face.